Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel Danker.
Wait, what did you say?
Okay.
Have a good one.
You guys better subscribe and watch my friend on his YouTube channel. He is kicking ass.
This is your Bible.
Well, yes, sir. I take the good book with me everywhere I go. That is not mine.
In a foreign land where corrupt men will stop at nothing to get their amusement and money, a former champion must enter a whole new ring.
It's incredible that I'm sharing a cell with George Chambers here.
In this village, we think very highly of fighters.
You're a great champion, but in here, I am the champion.
You know what it feels like to be in here for nothing? You better turn around and get me the fuck out of here.
I will. You cannot stop me from doing what I have to do.
I ain't fighting, man.
Listen, George, we're all gonna make a ton of money.
Motherfucker, I'll kill your motherfucking ass.
Go with the program. Best way to stay healthy.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about Undisputed II, Last Man Standing.
What happened?
You were drugged.
Fucking pussy, get up. You think I need you to drag my opponents?
See, this is all street fighting anyway, and that's what I'm from. I'll just go home on his ass.
Directed by Isaac Florentine and starring Michael J. White, as well as Scott Adkins. It is the sequel to the 2002 boxing film Undisputed. White portrays ex-boxer George Iceman Chambers, a role originally played by Ving Rhames. He is imprisoned in Russia, where he relies on his street fighting skills while fighting boxers in the ring. Okay, so I felt like that description was a bit inaccurate. I didn't really go into it that much. But, you know, I'll admit I didn't see the first film, but I'm becoming a pretty avid fan of Scott Adkins, and, you know, I heard the Undisputed films were, you know, sort of his breakout role, so I definitely wanted to check them out at some point. I recently just bought the second and third film. We'll be getting the fourth film at some point soon. So yeah, and like everyone else, I had seen Michael J. White in Spawn, which is a film I actually didn't mind. It's quite dated, but I watched it quite a bit actually years ago. And you know, maybe they'll still get me to watch some of his action flicks he's done as well. But yeah, so I feel weird that I didn't watch the first film where Ving Rhames played the character. My brother kind of talked me into it, and yeah, I just want to see more of Scott Adkins. So it doesn't seem like you need to know too much, just that he's dealt with this, the character has dealt with this kind of prison system before, and he's trying to sort of pull himself out of it, but also, you know, he kind of likes the the rewards for it, I guess. He's kind of embraced that a little bit when this movie starts. But then eventually he is set up and pulled back into this kind of world in this Russian prison. And at that prison, Scott Adkins' character, Yuri Boyka, is the champion. So everyone's trying to build up Michael Jai White's character Chambers, to fight him. And that's what the movie's basically about, the big fight and, them dealing with, corrupt wardens and, sort of the mob who owns these prisons, who has, their fingers and everything, and are kind of pulling the strings. So, yeah, overall, I like this movie. I am more eager to see the sequels because Adkins' character actually takes over as the lead. This is only a good starting point. I'm definitely curious to see because Adkins' character is sort of the villain in this movie. So I'm interested to see how he becomes more of a protagonist kind of character, our perspective character in the sequels. But in this to start, I thought he did a pretty good job. I mean, as Yuri Boyka, he did a good job. He had a good presence to him, I felt like. He definitely had that imposing feel to him. And yeah, Scott Adkins, he definitely really got into shape for the role, not that he wasn't already. But he's just very cut without seeming like overdone, steroid and everything like that. So he looks good, and he had definitely commanding, sort of deadly and hard-hitting presence to him. And I'm really liking his character, even from just like being an antagonist type. Again, I'm very eager to see where his character goes in the next two films. And Michael Jai White, I thought he did a fine job as well. He's likable. I know he's who a lot of people wanted to play Luke Cage. I think Mike Coulter does a fine job, but I definitely could have seen Michael Jai White doing it too. I think Jai White does deserve another shot at bigger films because he has a decent amount of sort of charisma to him, and I feel like he's likable enough. I do think he needs to get maybe a little bit more acting chops. He needs to work on that a little bit, which I shouldn't really be telling him that because I can't act worth shit. But it does make me want to see more of his work. He is likable and, like I said, entertaining to watch on screen. And he does share some really good fight scenes with Scott Adkins, of course. The choreography in this film is very, very good. There really aren't many cuts. When there are, they're typically done, just to make it more cinematic. It's obvious that Scott Adkins is doing all of his own work, and he does a great job. And I definitely believed and bought into the intensity of it all, of the situation and the scenario. And I did root for Chambers, although I felt like he did come off a bit arrogant at first. But both are sort of altered as they deal with each other. Adkins isn't given too much development in this movie. Like I said, I'm intrigued to see how that comes more in the sequels. But we do see touches that he's not completely, he's not a complete scumbag, because he does seem very put off and angry when he finds out that in their first encounter, Chambers is, drugged. And, so apparently he does have some honor to him, or he at least wants to maintain that he beats his opponents fairly. So that's something I could definitely build upon for sure. And I don't know, we'll see how he is after his defeat at the end of the movie here. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It's a pretty straight-up experience. I did like the guy who played a character named Nikolai, played by Ellie Danker. He's a former war veteran who I guess has been there for quite a number of years. There's a pretty good scene between him and Michael Jai White where he talks to him about his wife and his niece and everything like that. So that's kind of a fairly touching subplot, I suppose. But yeah, and Isaac Florentine, he definitely knows how to direct action, because he has Scott Adkins, great stunt work on his own, and then he has some really good shots of it too. And yeah, so I enjoyed this film. It's not the most complex thing, but it's very good with what it straight up wants to do, and it definitely sets itself up for an even more exciting third film. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this one. Overall, I'm giving it about a C+, B-. I think that's pretty fair. I did enjoy Adkins. Chambers or Jai White was fairly likable. I was hoping for a bit more delving into Adkins' character in this, but you can't rush it too much, I suppose. And I feel like I said, it'll naturally build in the next film. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.